welcome to Hashimoto's Unfiltered, real talk, real solutions. The podcast where we cut through the noise and get straight to the heart of living with Hashimoto's. My name is Dr. Ray Benedetto, your host, and I'm here to share my expertise, personal insights, and from time to time, conversations with incredible guests to help you take control of your health. Together, we'll explore actionable items, debunk myths, and navigate the complexities of your thyroid health. So whether you're newly diagnosed or a seasoned warrior, this is your space for unfiltered truth and real hope. Let's dive in. The topic of today is a myth that happens that I see quite often with folks, or that I get asked about quite often. And that myth is the myth of, well, it's just one bite of gluten. Like, what's the big deal? It's just one bite of pizza. It's just one bite of bread. It's just one bite of anything that contains gluten. What's the big deal? Like, is that really setting me back? So let's kind of break this down. Most of the time, the general advice out there when it comes to nutrition, you go to a nutritionist or some generic functional medicine doc, and they give you some advice. And most of the time, it's going to be an 80-20 rule. You guys know the 80-20 rule, as applies to anything, is that if 80% of the time you are being compliant and 20% of the time you're maybe cheating a little bit, you're going to be fine. Now, when it comes to Hashimoto's or really any autoimmune condition, all right, the unfortunate thing, I get it, it stinks. Don't shoot the messenger. This is just the way it is. I'm going to kind of break down, why it is like this, is that really total elimination and not just reduction. Now, is 100% elimination attainable? Most likely not. Sometimes stuff sneaks in, but that's the goal. The goal is 100% elimination of, and we're talking specifically about gluten today. That's the big one. Is that 100% elimination, not just reduction, is often the only way to get well and stay well from a dietary standpoint, and to help lower antibodies too. That's like the objective measure of like what we're doing is working. And again, the misconception out there especially in medicine, like in mainstream medicine, the misconception is, and they'll lead you down this path all the time, which is inaccurate, is, well, if you don't have celiac disease, what's the big deal? But if you don't have celiac disease, you can occasionally eat gluten, okay? And look, if you do have celiac disease, it has to be absolutely out, because anytime you touch it, it will not go well. But that's the common misconception, is that you can occasionally eat gluten if you don't have celiac disease. And honestly, with my patients with Hashimoto's who have a gluten sensitivity, I have not found that to be the case. And here's why. There's kind of two reasons. Why we cut out a lot of foods. Is that your immune system, let's try and keep this in simple terms, but the cells of your immune system have a memory. We're talking about, like, let's say white blood cells, generally speaking, but your immune cells have a memory. And that can last up to 6 months, honestly. So you can stop eating gluten today, and a month from now, try eating, feel better. You take it out, you feel better. You try it again, and everything comes roaring right back. I have this happen to my patients all the time. And I honestly, in the beginning, don't mind if it happens with my patients. I tell them, look, I want that to happen because I want you to feel what that's like. Like, I want you to feel what it was like to feel better. And then I want you to feel like what it was like to eat it again and not feel better. So I honestly don't mind when that happens. But your immune cells will remember. They will remember what the gluten looks like. And when you eat it again, they will pounce, right? Now, we've talked many times about something like molecular mimicry. I guess we're going to kind of hit this from 3 angles. Your immune system remembers, remembers even after you've taken it out of your diet. It can remember for months, usually a lifetime, to be honest with you, if it's genetic, if you have a genetic sensitivity. Now, we've also talked about the concept of molecular mimicry, so that gluten, the molecules at the molecular level, that's the term molecular mimicry, mimics your own tissue. So gluten can mimic your own tissue. So when the immune system goes to attack the gluten molecule, now this is if it gets into your blood, which it does. Again, we've talked about this numerous times, which sets the stage is leaky gut. So breakdown in the immune system, breakdown in the gut, leaky gut, the gluten molecules and other stuff, proteins and stuff, get into the blood, and then the immune system has to deal with them. That's the cascade of the development of an autoimmune condition. So the gluten gets in the blood, and your immune system is like, "Whoa, that ain't supposed to be here," and it goes on the attack, try and neutralize it. But in the process of doing that, through a concept known as molecular mimicry, your healthy tissues, your immune system is going to start attacking other parts of you as well. The immune system, the thyroid in this case. So we have, okay, I cut the gluten out, but my immune system is going to remember it for a very long time, months, if not a lifetime. Number two is the concept of molecular mimicry, that every time I eat it and it gets through into my bloodstream, my immune system is going to attack it to neutralize it, but my thyroid tissue is going to get caught up in the crosshair. So it's going to get caught up like friendly fire. So we have the immune system's memory, we have molecular mimicry. We have a third concept. This is why it's so important, gang. This is why it's so important. It's why I bang on this drum all the time with my patients, and why it's essential, it has to be done, because any one of these can contribute, can keep causing the autoimmune attacks. You can't get better without it. So this is why it must be done. So there's a third angle to this, which is something called cross-reactivity. There are certain foods, for example, coffee. Nobody wants to hear that one, but coffee, dairy. There's a list of about 24 established foods. I should post that. I have it somewhere. A document which is like a little chart that shows you all these cross-reactive foods. So there's this concept called cross-reactivity, that certain foods, and again, there's 24 or so of them. The big ones are things like dairy and coffee. Let's just use those as an example. And so you can be 100% totally gluten-free, but ingesting some of these cross-reactive foods. And again, there's no way of knowing if these are going to cause reactions unless we take them out. It's why we do a comprehensive elimination diet is step one. There's many reasons. This is one of them. I tell my patients, I'm like, you gotta just trust me on this. There's science behind all of this, and there's experience behind all of this. That's one of the reasons why we do it. We have to take everything out and get in there and heal stuff, heal the gut, get rid of pathogens like parasites and all this kind of stuff, like clean house, and then try and put foods back in to see if we have, for example, cross-reactivity. Now, cross-reactivity means that that food does not contain gluten, like dairy and coffee do not contain gluten. They're gluten-free. But that your immune system reacts to them in the exact same manner as if they did. Again, there's a lot of molecular mimicry at play here too, but those foods do not contain gluten. Dairy, coffee do not contain gluten. But in some people, if you ingest them, your immune system will react as if they did. Okay, that's the concept of cross-reactivity. And again, there's 22 or so other foods that can happen with, corn and soy and all this kind of stuff. So you guys, that's why it's so important as the starting point of any treatment plan. I tell people, this isn't just to torture you. This isn't just to figure out things like food sensitivities. We got to get these foods out. Yes, we need to see if you may have sensitivity to them, but we're gonna have to see if you're cross-reactive to some of them down the road. And the only way to get in there and start fixing stuff, like fixing the gut and killing off pathogens and getting, detoxification and drainage and opening up all these pathways, like the only way to get your body cleaned out and the immune system calmed down and your gut fixed is to take all these things out and then go in and fix those things, like clean those up, heal those things up, even while we may be looking for additional root causes. You guys have heard my process over and over and over again, listening to these talks. Like step one, like it's a two-step process, and these train tracks run parallel to each other. It's figuring out root causes. So a lot of times that involves testing. I like a Dutch test. I like DNA, blood work. Obviously, we can do some of these things. On some patients, I may be doing organic acid testing, or we may be doing like comprehensive stool testing or what have you. But it's like, okay, we got to figure out what do we have to look for. And then while we're testing for stuff, let's get to work on a comprehensive elimination AIP protocol because we have to take care of the food side of things, number one, and we have to get someone healed up. We have to get their gut fixed. So that way we can seal up that dam so we're not getting that leaky gut. We got to heal people's guts. If we got pathogens in there, parasites, bacteria, yeast, mold, we have to get those things out. We have to clear the detox and the drainage pathways so that we can get them out. So let's start checking some big boxes like calming down the immune system, decreasing inflammation, fixing people's gut, getting them detoxified and eliminating stuff, kill off pathogens. Let's do all those things while we have to eliminate foods first. So it's going to take those out of the equation so we can go in and fix those things. And then some testing to look for stuff that's going to help us in the long run, or that may layer in some additional treatments that aren't going to be handled by our initial elimination AIP protocol. That's the method to the madness. That takes time. That takes months, gang. It doesn't take weeks. It's not some magic detox protocol. Unfortunately, I wish it were that easy. But to kind of round out today's topic, gluten is the big one. It is the big one. And that's why the myth of just one bite, for some people, maybe some people can get away with this. I have some patients, they can get away with it every once in a while. But every time you eat it, it starts the cascade all over again. That's why total elimination is, for my patients at least, for people with Hashimoto's. Again, I know it's not what anybody wants to hear. It's just the reality. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just here to try and give you the information and to help you to do it, because it's the only way to get better, to get healed up and to be able to lower antibodies and all that kind of stuff. So at least in the beginning, usually forever, it's out. Like, it's definitely out because of those reasons, because of the memory of the immune system, because of molecular mimicry, and because of cross reactivity with other foods. It's just the way it is. And so once somebody has gotten to the point where they've developed Hashimoto's, like they've already been diagnosed with it, like that ship has already sailed. Like those wheels have already been put in motion. And so there's just no getting the toothpaste back in the tube. So don't listen to your doctors if they're just like, well, you don't have celiac disease, you can eat some gluten, 80-20 rule. It's usually not the case with Hashimoto's or with really many autoimmune diseases. We're talking about Hashimoto specifically here. But that's usually not the case. Like, it's out, it's got to stay out. Hopefully today you've understood the reasons why. And again, my patients, once they do it, they feel it, they experience how much better they feel. And then if they eat it, how horrible they feel. That kind of drives the point home usually. Like, just feeling horrible alone, I get it, but it's what it's doing it's just kind of resetting the clock. I don't say resetting the clock, it doesn't set us back to zero, but it's just feeding into that cycle, that cascade, that inflammatory autoimmune gut cascade that we have to break free from, and be able to get away from if we're going to really get relief from symptoms in the short term and lasting remission in the long term for transformational health. Transform someone's body and someone's health and someone's life. That's what we're talking about. Transformational stuff. I get it. People just come to me because they want relief. Let's get some symptom relief. But we need to transform you from this person to this person to stay healthy lifelong. And as easy as it is to do sometimes, we just can't buy into the myths, right, that are out there, and the misconceptions that are out there, especially in Western mainstream medicine, because they're lost in a lost world sometimes when it comes to diet, nutrition, any of this stuff. They have no idea. So hopefully that was helpful today. Hopefully just another nail to really drive home the point of, hey, listen, gluten's got to be out at least gluten. And again, some of these other foods too. That's why we take them out all initially, and then we try and put them back in because of cross reactivity and all this other kind of stuff. So there is a method to the madness, gang. This is it. Don't buy into the myths that, hey, every once in a while you can have gluten. If you have Hashimoto's, the reality is you probably can't. Unfortunate, yes, but also empowering, because once we can identify that, and you have control over what goes in your mouth. So yes, it stinks, but it can also be empowering at the same time, because once you know it and you get good at it, then you have control over it and you can keep yourself well. That's really kind of the overarching theme today. I want to thank you for tuning in to Hashimoto's Unfiltered, Real Talk, Real Solutions. Again, my name is Dr. Ray Benedetto, and I hope today's episode helped to give you the tools and the insights you need to take another step forward on your Hashimoto's journey. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode if you think someone could benefit. You can also connect with me on Facebook at Dr. Ray Benedetto and on my website, drraybenedetto.com, for more resources and updates. Until next time, remember, you're not alone and real solutions are always within reach. Take care and be well.